Hello, everyone. This is a presentation for my homework 5. It's called Tic Tac Toe with the Twist. And my name's Leo Su. Happy to have you guys here. And yeah, let's get going. So, first of all, it's a tic tac toe, 3 by 3, and this is how our playing field would look like with these board cells and these button here. We'll explain further deeper once we keep going with the presentation, but this is just how the board will look like once the game is started. So, the brief description of the game. So, this is a board game. The picture on the right over here. This is a board game that I once played with my friends, and I really liked it because I always be like, tic tac toe is always like a tie. It's not really, you know, very competitive as long as you don't make any mistakes. So I kind of just wanted to like add a little twist to the original like tic tac toe. So these are what I listed out as kind of like the key things that I added to make it a twist. But we'll further on explain it later on. So let's go with the types of the pieces. One of the most important thing that makes this tic-tac-toe game different from the original one is we have different sizes of pieces. There are 3 small pieces, 2 medium pieces, and 1 large piece. And what the size indicates is that a larger piece can take over a smaller one. So, large can take over medium and small, medium can take over small, vice versa. Uh, so, yeah, that's the types of pieces. And how do my players acquire pieces? So in my player class, I have a private variable, which is a vector that holds all the pieces. And when I'm adding those pieces in my function, I use an add piece function, which is pretty much just a pushback function that takes the pieces that I created. And when we're talking about the power ups that we mentioned, that makes it a twist of a tic tac toe, is the shield power up, which is derived from the parent class power up, which the main difference is like what they can do. A shield power up protects a piece from being covered for once or for a round. So next round, if the piece has not been taken, the next round the shield will just be deactivated. And here we have the activate function, which overrides with a twist here because the score is will be score -1. I implement that because I think like these power up functions are pretty powerful, and if there's no any like penalty or deduction on the points for the power ups, and then the game would just not be as interesting as it is. And similarly for double move power up, it's pretty straightforward. It allows 2 moves in 1 turn, so a player can like place 2 pieces in 1 turn. And because I think it's more powerful than just simply as the shield power up. So I made the score to deduct 2 points if the player decides to use a double move power up. So those are the 2 power ups that I implemented, and they are inherited from the power up class. So another additional feature is the leaderboard. I remember from homework 4, I didn't really have the time or really understand how to write to the leaderboard. I have some like dummy data that I implemented that you can, click on the leaderboard and view it, but it wasn't really implemented fully. Once the game ends, it won't write to the file. The leaderboard will never change. So on this project, I've spend a lot of time focusing on how do I actually make the changes to the leaderboard and show it once the game has ended. So when we talk about design pattern here, I chose factory. Is just because I'm familiar with this. I've used it in the project before, so I decided to use it again. A little bit differently here because sizes of the pieces really matters here, and which player it belongs also matters too. So here in the factory, I have another function that's called set piece visuals. And so if the player is player one, then we will set the piece color into blue, and we'll set different sizes of the pieces based on what we mentioned earlier, the enum, small, medium, large, to give them different pieces of different sizes of the pieces. And as here we can see, if players equal to 2, then we're going to set it to red, but the size are going to be the same. So here I'm going to show a demo video of what I recorded earlier. Wait, it should be here. Here. Let's see if it's this one. Okay. Let's see. Let's play it. So here, this is the player name dialog. It has the basic rules here. It mentions like the deduction of the points. I also implemented that if you don't enter a name, it'll keep asking you to actually put the name for the players to actually enter the game. So here we enter the game. We can check the leaderboard. This is like what I played before, so it just stored in there. So that was what we're checking. And here we click start game, and player one starts, which is test one here. We place a small piece in the middle. And here I showed that I already made a move. Like you can make 2 moves unless you click double move. And here I'm showing that a bigger piece can take over a smaller one. So a medium one took over a small one here in this case. And here, if you hover over, actually no. So take turn. Here we're gonna show the shield. So it's gonna change the color of the piece into shades. And now if we try to redo that again, now it hovers over. It tells you what each power up do when you hover over, just so people don't get confused. So here, when you click on it, it says the piece is shielded, even though it's a bigger size than what the opponent has. So we can't take that place. So now we place it down at the bottom. If I want to make another move, I can't unless I do a double move, which makes me win the game. So it says the result has been saved. So right now, if we click on leaderboard, it's gonna have our name and score recorded in the dialog. And because we only use double move, so it deduct our 2 points from our 5 points from the win. And test one had a negative because it used a shield, but still didn't win the game. And here I'm trying to show that we can't enter, like redo the same board over and over again. It'll say the game's over, and once you click reset, everything will get resetted. And so yeah, that's my demo video. I forgot to include this at the end of my demo video about my design decisions, so I want to talk about it right now. So what I started with, my initial ideas was grid for board and layout boxes for initial pieces. So in my homework 4, I use a lot of grids and a lot of layout objects to set up the whole board and that was the way that I know how to do it. So that was my first thought. But I ended up with using Q graphic scenes and creating a board cell class and adding a separate scene for the initial pieces. And the reason why I did it is I realized that this game is gonna be different from the Snakes and Ladder game because majority of the interaction in Homework 4 happens with rolling the dice. You don't really need to click on any part of the board to make it do anything, and so using a grid would be what makes sense in that case. But here, when we're using this tic-tac-toe game, there's a lot of interaction. When you click on the board cell, it'll like see whether a piece is bigger to take over or not. And so I did a board cell class and did instead of creating a grid, I just create 9 separate board cell objects and store them in my main window. So in that way, I can handle all the decisions I have to make when I click on the board from all the other private variables I have in there. And same thing with the initial pieces, like when we start the game before we place anything. The way I did it in Homework 4 was to add more layouts to hold those pieces, and I realized that just adding a separate scene for those initial pieces would make my life a lot easier. And what went well kind of goes hand in hand with that was my board interaction. I was very proud of my uh, mouse press event in my board cell class, which handles pretty much everything that the board does. So instead of having it all over the place, I can just focus on one function that handles all their interaction. So yeah, that's my design decisions. Hope you have a great time watching my presentation. Thank you.